Hey, this is the original diva of the WWE and 2011 WWE Hall of Famer, Sunny, and you're listening to the Lingus Show. And Cav, no, I still won't fuck you. Just give it up.
Again, I have no use for Cavalier.
This is where this gets difficult. Nope.
What kind of hotel is this?
How you doing?
With a tear in my eye.
I am coming.
Beat your way. Cheer. Frost has walnuts. We're doing right.
Suffering succotash, son.
Party foul.
See you next Tuesday.
Faust, do you know how many times I have jerked off to our next guest?
Oh, is Tom Brady going to be on the show today?
No, Faust. Our guest this week is the most downloaded celebrity on AOL. And yes, I contributed to that, and I still have an AOL email address because of that.
As do I.
She's also the female equivalent to Hulk Hogan in popularity back when she was in the WWE, of which we all heard. Better yet, Faust, she's a Mets fan. So now she's very close to my heart.
Oh.
It's 2011, the original diva, Hall of Famer, Sunny. Sunny.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Fantastic. We are so thrilled to have you on here. There's so much news that was going on.
So much nonsense, not news, nonsense.
There is a lot of nonsense with you being accused of accusing Seth Rollins of giving you an STD, which is completely untrue. And now you have the chance to clear it out, clear everything, clear the air, and you don't have to get clear because you don't have an STD from Seth Rollins.
Exactly. Yeah, I had no idea this was even going around because I do not follow wrestling. I do not follow wrestling gossip. I don't follow people's personal lives. I really don't. I could care less about anything anymore. But I was on Facebook and I just clicked onto my messenger just to see if there's any important messages. And somebody sent me a link to the post supposedly made by me. And I read it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I clicked on the profile that post was written on, and it doesn't even appear for me on my Facebook page. So whoever created this fake profile of me blocked me, so I couldn't even go on there and report them.
That is unbelievable. The internet is always the root. And that's the problem is you could deny, and then it's like, well, that's what is heard. And there'll be giant headlines about Sonny got STD, is accusing Seth Rollins. And then when it's found out that it's not true, there'll be a little tiny blurb retraction.
Right, exactly.
And no one will come up
exactly.
with it.
But I mean, and seriously, like I was just telling you guys a minute ago, I haven't been in the same room with Seth Rollins since I worked for Ring of Honor years ago. That was the last time we were ever even in the same room. And back then, it was a very cordial, hello, how are you, nice to see you relationship. That's pretty much it. I've never done anything with the man. I was never interested in doing anything with him because, first of all, I was never attracted to him before. Secondly, since his pictures, leaked on the internet, I'm definitely not looking to get into that. But that's a whole nother story.
What is are you a size queen? Does it come down to that? Do you need a large or?
It's not.
What if they're very charming? I see. I'm trying to push myself here, Faust.
Well, I think for any woman, girth is much better than length.
Oh, I'm in the house.
He didn't have the girth either, so
no.
It's like, what point is it?
Yeah, I was very proud.
It kind of looks like a Sabrett hot dog.
and you're not the. I was going to say, and you're not the Nathan's champion of eating those kind of hot dogs.
No, I am not.
Did you happen to hear the Bruce show where they had the whole entire topic about you? I'm sure you got flooded with that.
What is a Bruce show?
The Bruce Pritchard podcast.
Now, didn't I just tell you guys I don't follow wrestling?
Yeah, but I mean, you figured this.
I didn't. So no, I did not hear a podcast.
Wow,
3 hour. It was 3 hours.
3 hours. And they pretty much read from your book though. Mm-hmm. But they do a podcast, and Bruce Pritchard tells about like behind the scenes stuff and everything like that. So they were just reading from your book, and like they're reading the Sean stuff, of course. And
wait, so Bruce Pritchard spent 3 hours doing his podcast about me and reading from my book. I'm glad he thinks about me more. I think about him.
Well, here's the thing. The way they do it is they will have polls, and it is topics. There's 4 different topics or 5. Mm-hmm. And it is pick from this, and the fans vote.
They
what
go
do you
on
want to
Twitter
hear
and
about?
vote, and obviously everybody voted for Sonny. Was like
yeah,
a
they all want to
landslide.
hear about Sonny. And so they just went through your history of that, and they were like, hey, this is all said from her book. We didn't say it and this and that. But you get the tone of that it's looking down, of course, and it's, oh, this is a married man. How could she say such a thing? And I'm like, what are you fucking kidding me? If somebody is married now, that means you can't have a past. And
how could I say what about Sean? I made him sound like $1 million in my book.
Well, I think where they cried was the whole being bent over while you put on ruby red lipstick while he'd bang you from behind being his thing. I think that's the greatest thing in the fucking world.
That was his fetish, and that's what I wrote about. Listen, he didn't even, when we were together for it was like almost a year, we were hooking up and dating and traveling to Jamaica and everything like that. He didn't even know her. They weren't even friends. They weren't even acquaintances. So why would this be hurtful towards their marriage? This is something from his past, from my past. I had nothing to do with his wife.
And I'm like, they get on the high horse, I guess about kissing and telling. Where I'm like, no, this is fine. It's not like somebody's committing a murder. They're fucking.
And just because he's a born again, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, now it's Mr. Jesus.
He wasn't even dating anyone else. He was completely single at the time. So it's not like he was cheating on anybody with me. I was basically the only one he was seeing for that entire time. After we stopped seeing each other, he met her a few months later. But it's not, I made him sound like $1 million in there. If anybody was to read that, they're just going to envy him more. And it's not kissing and telling. Hell, if I wanted to kiss and tell, I could have written a 600-page book on kissing and telling. But isn't it funny how he's the only person I talked about because it was a meaningful relationship to me?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I'm like, you must have looked like the Joker at the end of that, from being pounded from behind while putting on lipstick. That had to be. You had to take a picture of that afterwards.
It was kind of funny too because he likes it smeared all over your face, and the problem is red lipstick is a stain, so like my entire face would be stained red for the rest of the day.
Do you think he?
It's terrible.
Do you think when he watched The Dark Knight Rises, he got a hard on thinking about it?
Oh my god, I don't know. It's possible.
Where was any? Do you have any place that popped out in your mind where you would sneak around in the arena to bang him? Is there anything like a special, this was a great one, like while the crowd was there, you were behind them or something, and no one even noticed?
It wasn't like that. It was in complete seclusion. Like we would just walk around the arena and early in the day and find out all the spots that were secluded and private. There were a lot of empty locker rooms. There were bathrooms in empty locker rooms. There was Vince's locker room a few times. There was electrical closets, broom closets, you name it. If we could find an empty, secure room, that's where we went. And Sean was a horn dog. He instructed me to wear short skirts with no underwear underneath, so it'd be easy access. And he would walk by me in the hallway. He'd be like, okay, 2 doors down on the right, be there in 10 minutes. And I would go in there, wait for him. He'd come in, stick it in, and then we'd go on with TV tapings. And this would happen 4 times during the day at the arena. And then back at the hotel at night. It was seriously, he was like an 18-year-old kid in high school, just couldn't get enough.
So are you on the pill at this time? And he's going, and is he going in raw dog?
Yes, he was.
Wow. So is he skeet fucking? He pull, and shoots?
No, he never pulled out.
Really? So he would come inside you every time?
Every single time.
Oh my God. That is unbelievable. Are you I can't even imagine that because I'm single and I'll get around there's here and there. And I'm like, I am more scared of pregnancy than I am of disease by far.
Okay, well, here's the issue with me, and nobody really even knows this about me. When I was 20, I got pregnant with Chris, and of course I was 20 years old. I was in college and in the wrestling business. There was no way I was having a kid at 20, so I got an abortion, which a lot of young girls do.
Sure.
Well, since that abortion, I've never gotten pregnant and never used birth control because I think they messed me up inside where I can't conceive anymore. So it just never was an issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
never got pregnant again. There was only one time, for a period of 4 years, I was on birth control in my mid 30s because my periods were all wacky, so I got on birth control to regulate them. But other than that, from 20 years old till about 33, I never used birth control, never got pregnant. And then from God, 38 on, I'm, same thing. Never used birth control, never got pregnant. Now I can't get pregnant because I don't have a uterus.
Yeah, that little issue will do it too.
Yeah.
Does he ask though, like, hey, are you on something, or he's like carefree and like, I don't give a fuck, it's your problem? I mean, what's his mind?
Sean, I don't remember him ever asking if I was on birth control. No, I don't remember.
That's pretty fucking ballsy that he's just like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember him asking ever once.
At worst,
But-
you go to craft services and get a Ziploc and a rubber band.
Some saran wrap.
Something. I'd be like, I gotta do this, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, but at that time, I was the only one he was sleeping with. He was the only one I was sleeping with. So it was like the disease thing wasn't on either of our minds. And I wasn't worried about getting pregnant because I had a feeling that I couldn't because of the abortion. And he didn't seem to be too worried about that either. So it was fine.
The perception is that you were cheating on Chris the whole time with Sean, but I heard in an interview you were saying you guys were semi-separated anyway at this time. And so people think, like, anytime you hear anything, and on Bruce's show, they're talking about, oh, poor Chris is standing around and all the rumors are flying, this and that, and they make it like you're going home to him and still with him the whole time.
I mean, see, what happened, we were separated for a time. We still traveled together on the road. We still shared hotel rooms at times, not even always. A lot of times we wouldn't even be in the same hotel at night. But we still rode together, traveled together, because honestly, it's nobody's business what our personal life is.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, people knew we were together from 17 years old on, and at 23 years old, it's really none of their business if we are together or we're not together. So we would fly together, ride together, sometimes share a hotel room, and most of the time not. So like I said, sometimes we'd even be in different hotels. And, fly home together. And then when we would get home, I would go home and he would either go to like, those Residence Inn by Marriott, so like little studio apartments. He would go to one of those or go and stay at his dad's for a little while. Like we weren't even living together during that time.
In the career, what is going on in the career at this point when things start to go bad? What's the reason they do go bad in the first place with Chris?
With Chris?
Yeah, like when does it start getting rocky, and what are you guys still body donnas?
There was no, I don't even remember the time frame as far as that goes, but there was no particular instance or fight that made it go sour. But we were together since we were kids, and 7 years into the relationship, it was kind of like the 7-year itch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was the first person I ever slept with.
Yeah.
Ever. So I lost my virginity to him. He lost his virginity to me. So after 7 years of being together, it was like, all right, maybe I'm getting a little bored with this. Maybe I need to see what's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's totally normal.
It just kind of, the whole sexual attraction for me there just kind of fizzled. He was still my best friend, but the attraction wasn't the same as it was for years, So we were slowly separating before I even started seeing Sean. So it's not like Sean came into the picture and that was a catalyst. That was not the way it happened. But no, just seriously, think of it this way: it's not like we were just dating for 7 years. We lived together, we worked together, we were together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 7 straight years. Wouldn't that drive you a little batty?
Yeah, that's like Faust and his wife.
Huh?
Seriously though, think about it. Think about being with your wife for work, to live with, to travel with, for everything.
Yeah,
especially when it's your first one and that's all you know.
Seriously, you go to the gym together, you go shopping together, you do every little thing together, including work and travel. So it got to the point where I needed space, and I don't think I'm wrong for needing space.
No.
So we had our little separation. I was seeing Sean, and then eventually what ended me and Sean, and I put this in the book, because he was building a new house in San Antonio. He was living right outside of Dallas at the time, but he was building a brand new house in San Antonio. His mother and I became very close. We used to talk on the phone like every day, and his mom and I picked out the colors for the cabinets, the countertops, the tile, the carpeting, everything for the house. I helped design this house.
Mm-hmm.
And right as the house is getting finished, Sean asked me to move in with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, okay, this is where it's going to get serious now. So it came down to me thinking, okay, I could move to Texas with Sean and either A, have a great life, or have that end really badly. And B, on the other hand, if I do move to Texas with Sean and end it for good with Chris would probably kill himself.
Really, that bad, huh?
Chris worshipped the ground I walked on. Like I was everything to him. So like my subconscious, I couldn't completely just say to Chris, okay, it's totally ended. We're done forever now. I'm moving in with Sean. because he probably would have offed himself, honest to God.
Plus, he hated Sean, didn't he?
Yeah, they did not like each other. So, and not even because of me, it was professional reasons too. They just did not get along. So,
was he was he being kept down? You think like Sean would be like, kind of because of you in the middle, kind of where he's like, fuck this guy, don't let him.
No, that honestly had nothing to do with it. Back then, they had a certain place on the card for smaller guys, his type of, match and stuff like that, and that's just where it was. I mean, there was no way he was going to be escalated to a main eventer at that time because they didn't do that back then.
Yeah.
If this was 10 years later in the days of Chris Benoit de Guerrero and Chris was still alive, he probably would have been in all these matches with them on WWE TV. Because he could go with the best of them and probably even more so. Mm-hmm. But when I said to myself, okay, Chris is my best friend, and if I, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, my sinuses are bad. If I did this, he would probably kill himself, and I just wouldn't be able to live with myself. So I told Sean, I can't move in with you. I can't do this to Chris, and that's when Sean ended it because basically his ego was hurt. It was like I was picking Chris Candido over the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. How could I? And that's when Sean ended it. So that was.
When you guys go to Jamaica, you don't have to make up an excuse because you're kind of not with Chris at that time.
Right. Well, all I said, I even told my family I even told my friends because it's nobody's business what I was doing. I said I was going on a spa vacation to Jamaica for a week. That's all I said.
Okay.
I didn't say who I was going with. I didn't say who I wasn't going with. I just said I'm going on vacation for a week. It was really nobody's business who I was there with.
During the Sunny Days promo, you guys are done at this point, I assume? You and Sean? Or is it
Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had just ended. Yeah, and
so he's kind of being a little bitch about things and trying to take a jab.
Right, he was being a little bitch, and he was being because his ego was shot because basically I was picking to try to salvage things with Chris over Sean.
Yeah.
So his ego was hurt, and he was being a little bitch. Yeah. I wasn't even in the building when that comment happened. It was TV taping, and I mean back then, I was on top of the world. I got to pretty much call my own shots. So when I was done filming what I had to do, I didn't wait around till the end of the show. I would leave and go back to the hotel. So I filmed whatever I had to do, and I left the building. I don't even know what time it was, and I came back the next day, and the seamstresses and the makeup girls were like, oh my God, what about that comment last night? And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I had no idea. And they told me about the Sunny Days comment. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. And that all stems from, Sean and Brett, of course, never liked each other.
Yeah.
And I was very good friends with Bret Hart. Nothing physical ever happened between him or me. We've always just been very good friends.
You had the one kiss.
One, that's it.
How does that come about, though? Are you guys in the locker room?
And to me, one kiss is nothing. You know how many people have randomly kissed and it's not anything to talk about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't even count that as like a physical encounter. One kiss is nothing. But, no, see, Brett and I were very good friends. He used to use my locker room on the road because he hated being in the locker room with all the guys. So most of the time I was the only girl on the road. So he would just go and throw his stuff in my room. And like when he would change, I would leave. When I would change, he would leave. If he brought his kids on the road, he'd dump them off in my locker room. So we were just very good friends. And Sean hated that. Sean, the whole time I was with Sean, he used to tell me, I don't like you being friends with him. I don't like him being in your locker room. I don't like this. I don't like that. And I was like, we're just friends. That's it. We're just friends. So when we stopped seeing each other, I guess he took advantage of the situation and decided to stir up shit for Brett just because he could, and he did.
Does Brett come and confront you and say, did you hear this fucking bullshit, this asshole?
No.
Just blows it off.
Brett's above that. He when I saw him, we kind of looked at each other, shook our heads, and giggled like, oh, here we go again. You know what I mean? Brett kind of takes it for what it's worth, And I was very good friends with Brett's wife, Julie, and she knows that nothing was going on. So it's not like we had to try to make excuses for something that didn't happen.
How does the kiss even come about? Where are you at? Are you guys in that sharing locker room and he goes
Brett?
for it? Yeah.
I don't remember where we were. It was a pay-per-view. And we were in the pay-per-view hotel. And I don't even remember what pay-per-view, and I don't even honestly remember what town this was in. But he came by my room for something. I don't remember. I'm telling you, we were friends. Mm-hmm. So, we would all stop by each other's rooms all the time.
Yeah.
And everybody on the road. That's just how, And he came by my room, and we were just sitting there talking, and then, boom, the kiss happened. And it wasn't even that good of a kiss. So it's like, why would I go in for anything
Was
else?
it kind of like, this is like kissing my brother at the time?
It kind of was.
a little too familiar.
Yeah. It kind of was. It kind of wasn't, there was no passion there. There was no, sometimes when you kiss somebody, it's like, oh my God, you can feel it throughout your body.
Yeah, and then there's a bad kiss.
Sometimes you kiss somebody and it's like, okay, see you later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was there was nothing there. Yeah, it was kind of like kissing my brother, which is another gross thought. But anyway.
There's the one interview you do for the UK pay-per-view where Sean has got his hand up your skirt and he's saying innuendos and everything. Are you like, I assume he's not letting you know that this is going to go on and kind of just spring this on you. And so
I had no idea.
What's going through your head? Are you like, what the fuck? Or just trying to be misprofessional?
I remember doing that interview. I remember watching it back. You can even see the look on my face. I'm like, what the hell is he doing right now? Like, my eyes are bugging out. I'm like, my eyes are rolling. Like, somebody help me here. What's going on?
And he's wiggling his fingers up there, right? He's trying to just, tease a little bit.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't doing anything up there. No. He like, his hand was there, but nothing was on my crotch or anything like that. It was on my leg.
You figure if he's there, he might as well just play around a little bit.
Squeeze your ass.
He's not that much of an asshole. He's not that much of an asshole. But no, he would never do something like that on camera. But yeah, I had no idea he was going to be like that. He was acting really weird that night, so I don't know if he was pilled up or what was going on, but I don't know. Yeah, it was bizarre.
Have you seen? I know you don't follow wrestling and all this kind of stuff now, but I don't know if this goes beyond the wrestling thing because of the people in wrestling. But the Paige sex tape leaks. Have you heard, seen any of that?
Yeah, I did see those because people, of course, sent me links. I mean, like I said, I never search anything out. I never see what's happening until like 5 days later somebody lets me in on it. My friend Andrea actually sent it to me. And I saw them, and it's like, do I feel bad for her? Yeah. Do I mean, but no, in a way, because she took it upon herself to take these pictures. Anybody who takes pictures like this or video of that, you're assuming the risk that it's going to get out. I mean, especially, it gets out. Normal people's naked pictures get out. So if you're a celebrity, you got to expect this sooner or later.
Do you think?
You know what I mean? And
you think it's no big deal, other than, well, she was with a black guy in it, but other than that.
That wasn't for me personally because I'm just not into chocolate. But no, but do I feel bad for her? Yeah, but like I said, you assume the risk that something's going to get out if you do this. Like, everybody I've ever dated, I have never ever let anyone photograph me or videotape us doing anything because for that number one fear. You know what I mean? And I always said that if anything ever leaks of me on the net, I'm going to be the one leaking it and making money on it.
I was going to say, you made a flat out movie, so there's nothing to leak.
And got paid.
Exactly. Hence the movie. I waited till an opportunity arose where I could make money off of it. But and to this day, even since I did the movie, I still don't allow anybody to videotape me or take pictures of me, kind of compromised position that way. I just don't let it happen. You have to assume it's going to happen. And same thing happened to Victoria, Lisa Marie.
Yeah.
It's just, and she didn't mean for them to get out. It was personal pictures she took and sent to her boyfriend, and they got leaked.
The one thing I think that, and you correct me if I'm wrong with knowing the inside office people, I think the one thing that they're more pissed off about than anything else is the fact that Maddox came on the Divas Championship for NXT.
Yeah, that was a little tacky.
And at the last pay-per-view, Asuka kisses the belt before she gives it away because they got new belts, and this is all because of Maddox.
And she licked her lips.
Oh, my God.
I was like, she kisses the belt. Every one of us, we all groaned. Whoa! We're like, oh, my God.
Wait, who kissed the belt?
Asuka, the champion of NXT. She's a Japanese. She's fantastic.
I've never watched NXT, ever.
Yeah, NXT is actually way better than Raw.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Yeah, Raw's been pretty shitty. I've always heard this rumor, and I've never gotten the full story. And who knows if it's even true or whatever. I have heard, did you blow Sabu on the roof? for Somas. This is the one thing that I've always heard, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I said, okay. I have this woman on my show. Okay. I'm asking about blowing Sabu.
All right. Okay.
Because that had a smell, if that's true.
All right. Here's a couple of ways to explain that.
Okay.
Well, not explain it, but explain how that couldn't happen. Number one, any pill I ever took back in the day, I had prescriptions for. So why would I need it from anybody else?
Okay.
Secondly, let me give you the list of men that I have admitted to have been with. Okay. Shawn Michaels, the British Bulldog, Chris Masters, Dolph Ziggler. Look at them and look at Sabu. Do you actually think that I would totally go for my regular type and go with somebody like Sabu?
Yeah,
honestly.
but then they were saying I was watching an interview, and the boyfriend at the time, I don't know if he's still, he was off to the side, and the interviewer said, "Well, that's not sex. That was something else." And I thought they were referring to Sabu being blown.
No, nothing has ever happened with Sabu. I've known him since I'm 17 years old. We were like family members way back in the day because we were started out in USWA together. Chris and Sabu were like brothers. We used to have Sabu over for holiday dinners and things like that. No, nothing like that has ever. I don't even know where that all started, but nothing like that has ever happened.
See, this
like,
is
and
fantastic.
like I said, look at my track record with the men that I can get.
Well,
Okay,
well,
I
there's
don't
one
need to
person.
I don't need to drop from perfect tens down to that.
Well,
I mean, come
let
on.
me ask you about this indie guy then too. Mitch Valentine. Now,
What a loser.
here's something interesting because I'm sure the fans of our show might know about it because we heard from another indie guy that this Mitch Valentine was completely in love with you, and we said,
Yeah,
let's
he
have
was.
him on the show. I would like to know what it's like to have sex with Sonny. Please have him on the show. He was so in love, Sonny, he would not come on the show. He refused to come on. This is my love. I am not talking about it. And so he wouldn't come on the show, but we never had him on to talk about it. And I'm like, this guy, from what we heard, he moved across the country. He was trying to get a job over there.
Kickstarter,
He had a
what do you call it?
Kickstarter.
GoFundMe, right?
GoFundMe to be with my love, Sonny. That's what this Kickstarter. And so he went
All
over
right.
there for a little while, and you hung out with him, and then said, "What the fuck am
All
I
right,
doing?"
This is what happened. Okay, I went out to do WrestleCon in San Jose for WrestleMania weekend.
Right next to us. See, if we only knew you then,
Right.
because we're in San Jose.
Okay, so I go to the convention. It's a 3-day convention, and they had some like indie guys from the area helping out, working at the convention, helping people at tables and whatnot. And this guy named Mitch was assigned to help me at my table.
Mhm.
Okay, great. I have help. Wonderful. Help that I don't have to pay. Fabulous. So this is now back then when I was in San Jose, I was in my full-blown alcoholism.
Okay.
And I was pretty much drunk for the entire 3 days I was at WrestleCon. I was drunk during the day while I was there because there's a bar right there in the hotel, where the convention was, and people were bringing me drinks all day long. I was drunk all night long. Oh my God, it's starting to rain and I'm outside. Shit. Okay. So, people are bringing me drinks all day long, all night long. So I was drunk for 3 days. So with my vodka goggles, he looked really good. Since we're spending all day together at
We've
my
all been
table, we're talking and he's funny, and I think he's cute because I got vodka goggles on. So of course we hook up that weekend. We hook up the 2 nights in between, between the 3 days of the convention. So, so I leave there and I don't remember a goddamn thing. I don't remember what he. I don't remember.
He's buying a ring, and she's like, "Who are you?
I
Nice to
don't
meet you."
I don't remember what he looks like. I don't remember if he was any good. I remember nothing because I was drunk. So I get home, and for about a month, I guess, we're talking and we're texting, and we're getting along pretty good. So I'm like, all right, why don't you fly out to visit me? I bought him a one-way ticket just because I wasn't spending a lot of money on him at first. I'm like, all right, I bought him a one-way ticket. He came out. And he put on the charm, and I'm like, okay, he's a little chubbier than I remember.
Meanwhile,
he's not
Candido's ripped out of his. All these guys, Ziggler, they're all ripped. Fucking
Yeah.
Pudge Boy Valentine walks in a room.
Like, he's kind of shaped like Mr. Potato Head. Facially he's cute. Then when I get him in bed, I'm like, oh, it was that small. I don't think that either. So I was like, all right. So since I only bought him a one-way ticket, I guess he thought he was moving in. So
Oh boy.
he stayed for about a month, and he had, and this is another thing I didn't know about him too. He was completely broke. He had zero money.
Yeah.
Nothing. So he
Typical
comes
indie
out.
wrestler.
Yeah, he comes out. I'm paying for all the food. I'm paying for everything. So I told him, I said, if you're going to stay out here for a little bit, look for a job somewhere. I don't care what it is, but so you have your own spending money. Because every time we even went to the store, like, his hand was out. He needed money to buy it.
Oh boy.
So I said, why don't you? And all he packed to come out with was like basketball shorts and T-shirts. So I was nice, and I bought him some khakis and some collared shirts so he can go look for a job. I even bought him a car, not a new car, a used car.
Wow.
So he would have his own transportation. And I said, find a job. You don't have to pay bills or anything here, but have your own spending money and stuff like that. Well, for 4 weeks of him being in Pennsylvania with me, he refused to go look for a job. He found a job. Like he refused to go look for a real job. He found a job waiting tables twice a week at this little lunch cafe in town. So all he made was $150 a week. That was it. Waiting tables. So after 4 weeks of this, I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. And I basically said, you're not good enough in bed to be my sugar baby, and I think it's time to go home.
Oh, shit. So he still has a footprint on his back from when you pushed him out the door.
Pretty much. But and another thing too, because when he came out, his cell phone was really shitty. It was broken. So I bought him a new iPhone 6 Plus. I started a family plan so he could be on that, so it'd be cheaper, that I was paying for. So he also made out with a $900 new iPhone 6 Plus for me, and his cell phone paid for it for a couple months. But yeah, it was just, oh my God, what a waste of money and time. But then again, I was in full blown alcoholism, so I didn't even realize what I was doing.
For a guy you weren't into, Jesus Christ.
That's what happens when you're drunk.
My God. So size and stamina wise, let me go through a list here. What about Sean? What would you say? Girth, length, and how long is he pumping away? And I would assume, I mean, if he's ducking into closets, it's got to be a quick squirt.
Get in,
get out. But when you're going full fledged, pumping wise, cutting out foreplay, because I could foreplay for a long time, but then you slide in, your thermometer might be at the tip, So.
All right. Well, put it this way, and I've said this a million times on interviews, and I'll say it again. Sean was easily the best I've ever had.
All right, so when you did that interview with your boyfriend at the time, off to the side, when you go, oh, he's the best sex I've ever had with the boyfriend sitting there, I go, well, she's bullshitting, so he.
No, Sean was easily the best. I'm a Sagittarius, he's a Leo, so the chemistry was just there to begin with, and we just clicked. Like everything we did was perfect. So there's like nobody has topped him.
See, I've seen posters where it looked like he had a dot in his pants. No, back in the day, rocker days. So he's okay.
It was above average. Yeah, it was above average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ziggler looks like he'd be small.
The only thing with Sean, he wasn't too much into oral.
He didn't like to give or get or both.
He was more into sex, not oral. He was just,
Really?
Yeah. He didn't.
Well, you find that with guys who can pump away for a while, that they're like, well, why bother? So I've mastered my oral, thank you, because, you got to fucking make up for other things.
And sometimes that's better.
Yeah, sometimes, I make sure they finish first, and then I go in, so then there's no complaint.
Right.
So with Ziggler, size-wise, and how was he? Because he's been around the boulevard a few times with these different girls.
Yeah, I've heard. Nick was really fun. We went from about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning.
Oh, Lord.
He's a machine, I should say.
So he is perfection.
He's a machine, and he does not tire. His stamina is insane. His size is really good, but it's crooked to the left.
Huh, maybe he had one of those like Rodman had that whole when someone was riding and popped out and then cracked it. That might be the issue.
I don't know, but it points to the left. So that's the only thing wrong with him. Otherwise, he was pretty good. And
when was that?
That was in the month of November 2010.
So we always say he must be so pissed off because he banged Nikki Bella before she had implants. And now it's like, fuck! Come on now.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And how about with Masters?
Masters is the number.
So he looks like he'd be enormous because he's just a big guy.
Masters is right behind Sean. He's the number 2 I've ever. He's amazing, and
he has to make up for that balding.
See, Chris and I were. I mean, we were never when he was in California and I was in New Jersey, we would talk on the phone and have phone sex. But for about 4 years straight, we were on a lot of indie shows together, and we hooked up every single time. So he was kind of like the on the road boyfriend for like 4 years. It was like a while that every time we were on indie show together, which was like once or twice a month for a while there, we were hooking up. But now Chris is like the number 2 on my list of best of all time. And as far as the oral goes, oh my God, nobody beats him.
Well, you haven't met me, my dear.
nobody beats Chris Masters, and it's like, I mean, and I don't care what girls tell you. There is no girl in the world that gets off from every guy they've ever been with. It does not happen. We fake it with most of you. But with
what
Chris,
is this? I've never heard. This is the revelation of the show. What women
it's
fake?
true. But
It's all work.
no, with Chris, I knew I was getting every single time. He's just amazing. He's amazing. Like Sean, I got off with every single time too, but that was just different because we just had that chemistry. But Chris, as far as the oral goes, every single time without fail. Oh my God, yeah, he was.
How often was the Ziggler thing? Like, was it a one-shot deal or multiple
that was just
times?
once. That was
just that one time.
Once. But there was like 4 or 5 months.
Empty stomach cardio.
There was 4 or 5 months of heavy flirtation and texting and everything like that leading up to it. So it was a big build-up.
Jesus Christ.
And he found me. He found me. He started writing to me on Facebook. And of course, at first, I didn't think it was really him because, I mean, there's so many fake accounts and everything like that.
Well, yeah, he's a poon hound, so, you know, he was searching out. This is one thing Faust is so fucking angry about. He brings it up all the time. It's WrestleMania 25, the Diva Battle Royal.
Still upset.
Go ahead, Faust. I'll let you.
They brought you back WrestleMania 25. They had the big Diva Battle Royal. Brought out people we hadn't seen before, current people. We get no introductions for each person because they had to have like a 10-minute Kid Rock performance.
And we're looking for you. Right away, we wanted to see Sonny.
So he's doing his greatest hits, quote unquote, and then he starts playing the So Hot, and then all of a sudden all the divas start coming down, but they don't introduce any of them.
We saw her for
and
a
we
second
knew you were going to be
dancing
like,
next to him.
Oh, we're Sonny, and then all of a sudden we see you in the ring, and then it's, oh, Sonny was just eliminated.
They don't even like. There's no anything. Are you like, what the fuck afterwards?
It was booked very poorly, as is a lot of things there. But no, when I was all excited to do it, but excuse me, I really wasn't thrilled about being in a match with a bunch of girls that I knew really didn't know what they were doing. So when we got there, they're going over everything. Finley was the agent, and he's telling us like who's eliminating who, and I was supposed to stay in till the 9th elimination. And I said, there's no way in hell I'm staying in here this long with all these girls who really from
oh, that's funny. Usually it's like, hey, leave me in, and you're like, get me the fuck out. I'm being paid regardless.
I back then I watched some of them work, and I'm like, oh my God, they're so clumsy, somebody's gonna break my nose. So I was like, you know what, I was like, the sooner the better. So I was supposed to be eliminated 9th, and when I got, like, after we went over everything, I got with Victoria. I said, can I start with you? Because I know I know you're safe. I had to do a little something with Maurice, and she almost broke my nose. She was just supposed to sell for me, and instead I see a foot coming out my face. I'm like, what the hell?
Wow.
I was like, what the hell are you even doing? She was just supposed to sell a little something with Maurice and the Bellas, and then Beth Phoenix was supposed to toss me. So basically, I shortened it as quick as I could, and it was about the 4th or 5th elimination. I went over to Beth. I said, get me out of here. Please just get me out of here. She goes, already? I said, yes. And we just went into our quick little sequence so she could eliminate me. But at least I was happy to work with Beth and Victoria, 2 people that I trusted, and try to avoid getting the foot to the face by Maurice while I was in there. But yeah.
Do you have any issues with anybody in the WWE now? Like, since the whole doing the porn movie deal, and like your Hall of Fame ring is shown, and like they freak out over obviously these little things, we know. What was the backlash after the movie came out? Do you hear from uppers? Are they like, what the fuck is?
Honest to God, the only backlash I got was from asshole haters on the internet. That's it. The company did not say one thing negative to me. I mean, I still talk to people in the company to this day about various things that I won't discuss on here. But
Sure.
Not once has anybody ever given me shit from the company. It's like, how can they're not going to tell somebody you can't do this and make money to pay your bills. I mean, nobody would do that.
Sure.
Like I said, the only negative backlash I got from anyone was from negative asshole haters on the internet. And I don't give a shit about what they think. I really don't care.
So do you have other plans to make any more movies, or is that you're done with that?
No, it was a one-time deal. They offered, X amount of dollars plus royalties. I accepted. And that's pretty much it. I mean, before we even filmed that one, they were starting to throw ideas at me for another one. I'm like, no, this is just a one-time thing for me. It's not becoming my regular job. You know what I mean? So to me, all it was a job. It was a payday. It's not something I aspire to do. It's not something I want to do full time. It's probably not something I ever want to do again, but it was a payday. Just like everything else in the wrestling business, it was a payday. That's all it was.
Do you regret not doing the Playboy in your heyday now?
Now, yeah.
Since it seems so tame at the time. Now you're like, well, fuck, I could have.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. See, but when it was offered to me, I was 23. I was very shy at the time. You wouldn't know it from like bikini photos and like lingerie layouts and stuff like that. But see, I'm comfortable in a thong bikini because that's what I used to run around on the beach in. So that's not a big deal. But even the lingerie photo shoots I used to do were uncomfortable because back then I didn't wear lingerie, so I felt very uncomfortable in that stuff. But as far as the Playboy thing, I was too young. Believe it or not, I was too shy. I was a little bit too timid to do that, and it just wasn't something that I was ready to do. When Vince told me about it, he brought me in for a meeting about it into the office, and it took me a whole 5 minutes to say, no, I can't do this. Like, I didn't even go home and think about it. I'm like, just no, this is not the right thing for me to do. I don't think I could do it. Now, absolutely. You know, I'm much more emotionally mature, and I mean, hell, if I did the other thing, I could do Playboy. But no. But do I regret it? Sometimes, yeah. But back then, it just wasn't the right thing to do for myself.
Did you end up selling your Hall of Fame ring after all? Like, was that the whole issue with that?
Oh my God, you people believe everything. I swear to God.
You people, what am I, black? What is it, you people? No, I'm like, well, that's why we're asking, because you could get these answers out. Yeah, you could totally set the record straight with all these things, because that's the only thing we hear. You never hear the other side.
Okay, let me ask you this. When John Cena beats Dolph Ziggler in the middle of the ring, did he really beat him, or does it work?
Well, listen.
Okay.
Come on.
So everything
in
this business and revolving around this business is a work. It was the whole ring thing. That was a publicity stunt thought up by me and Stephen Hirsch from Vivid, just to get publicity for selling the movie. That was it. That was all it was. As a publicity stunt that we had TMZ do, because that's the best way to get anything out there into the media, and that's all it was. My ring is locked up in a safe in the next room right now.
Beautiful. See, that's always the good thing to know, because it's like, oh shit, was she, that down on her luck, and she had to do that. So financially, you're set still. You're living okay.
I'm fine. I do not struggle.
She just moved to New York. She's doing great.
I live in Manhattan. I do. Yeah, there is no struggling. I don't need to sell my ring to pay anything. That's just not how it works.
So with Sable, it's always been a history with you and Sable where, even during a lawsuit, you contacted Vince, correct, and said, if you need any help, I could vouch for a lot of things.
Even with what?
Even with, like, when Vince, if he needed help in the lawsuit, did you contact them and say you would testify or anything like that?
Not that I recall. I didn't have anything to do with that lawsuit.
See, these are things on the internet. It's great that we could talk to you, because everything's getting cleared up. This was like reported all the time. You would always hear that you contacted Vince and said, you need a hand, I'll be there to testify against with Sable and shit. Did you have problems with Sable, or is that bullshit?
Everybody had problems with her. I wasn't the only one. But no, as far as her, the lawsuit happened way after I left the business, and I didn't associate myself with her at all when I was there or after. So no, I had nothing to do with the lawsuit she was having with them.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
That's easy enough. Did the whole problem start when she walked in and moved everybody's bags out of the way, and like, this is her place now?
Yeah, that was kind of funny. It was just me and Terry Reynolds on the road for a little while. I'm just sorry, I'm talking lower. I have to keep my voice down a little bit.
Yeah, you're fine.
Because everybody's annoying me. So we was just Terry and I on the road for a little while, and we're in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania, and nobody had told us anybody new was starting or anything like that. So at Hershey, where we were, in the arena we were working, we had these trailers outside the building as our dressing rooms. So Terry and I had our own trailer. We go in, there's one folding table and a couple chairs and like the sink with the counter and the mirror. So she and I open up our gear bags and we spread out our clothes for the night for the taping, and then we go to catering. We come back from catering and all of our stuff is on the floor and somebody else's luggage is spread out across the table, and Terry and I walked in and we went, what the fuck is this? We had no idea what was going on. So we were nice enough to leave whoever stuff was it on the table, just move it over a little bit and put our stuff back up with it. Because all of our stuff was on the floor. So we're in there and we're starting hair and just going through our clothes. And all of a sudden this girl we'd never seen before just walks in, doesn't even look at us, doesn't even say hello to us, and starts going through her bag. And Terry and I looked at each other like, who the fuck is this? And why is she in our room? And why she doesn't even walk in and look at our way. Never mind introduce herself. She doesn't even look in our direction. It's a small, and it's a trailer. It's not big. It's a small 1-room trailer. So Terry, I think, went, excuse me, but who are you? and she, I forget exactly what she said, but something to the effect of, oh, I'm Mark Marrow's wife, and I'll be working with him. And we're like, okay, and what's your name? You don't have a name. You introduce yourself as Mark Marrow's wife. She didn't even say her real name at first. She goes, this is what she goes, they'll be calling me Sable. And I looked at her. I said, like the car? And she goes, no, as in dark, as in night. I'm like, okay, like the car, like the Mercury Sable. I gotcha. So Terry and I right away were rubbed the wrong way by her because it was just, she was just ignorant. She wasn't friendly. She came in, she acted like she owned the place. Who comes in, who goes into a locker room and moves somebody else's stuff off a table so you can put yours out when it's your very first time there? You don't do that. And so she rubbed us all, the wrong way to begin with. And from that day on, neither of us liked her at all. We just kind of had to deal with her, to the best of we could. And then a couple months later, we tried to be very cordial and civil towards her in the locker room, making small talk. And she was just so into herself. She'd be doing her makeup in the mirror and she wouldn't even look your way. And she would answer in one word, answers if you asked her a question. So she used to bring her daughter Mariah on the road, and I knew that Mark Marrow wasn't her dad. I forget how I knew, but I knew. And Mariah was a cute kid, but she was very quiet and just kind of didn't really talk much. So just to try to make small talk in the locker room one day, I said, so Rena, I said, I know Mark's not, Mariah's dad, but, where's her dad? And she goes, oh, he died when she was just a baby. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's terrible. Because it was her husband, too. It was her husband and baby's father. And this is what she said. And Terry and I could not believe our ears. She goes, no, it was the best thing. So first of all, she said he died in a car accident. He died in a car accident when she was a baby. She goes, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. If he never would have died, I never would have met Mark.
Wow.
There's a silver lining to everything.
Terry and I looked at each other like she did not just say that. She said, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because if he never would have died, I never would have met Mark. This was her husband and the father of her child, and she was happy he died, so she had the chance to meet Mark Marrow. And wow. Terry and I were very good friends by that time, and we're a different kind of person than Rena is, and we looked at each other like, oh my God, God help this woman because she is just evil to the core. She is just not a nice person,
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty bad. It was terrible.
She wasn't trying to make friends. Like she didn't see that everybody was like shitting on her and not into her or shitting on her, so to speak. Not to mention, was that Xbox who did that? Even though they say it was Randy Orton.
That was after I left, so I don't even have confirmation.
But like she doesn't try to get back into graces with people, saying, you know what, I need to, make friends here, or try to smooth things over and apologize. Nothing like that. It's in her own world.
Yeah, I don't know if she was that self-absorbed and that self-centered, or just that fucking stupid. I don't know which one it was. But it was one of those things that she was just an ignorant piece of shit that nobody could stand, nobody liked, and yeah, she was very detrimental to the locker room morale at the time. She really was.
Now, when Ed, getting to the we only get a little bit longer with you, and we'll let you go. When we get to the end of Chris's life and in TNA, are you guys are together at this point still, or back together? Okay.
Yeah, we were back together and everything was fine.
So when he breaks his ankle, has the surgery, and we know how he ends up dying, where are you when he actually dies?
In the hospital with him.
So he was in the hospital for the What was going on? Why was he end up back in the
Well,
hospital?
he was in Florida when it happened. I was home in Jersey. And the next day he had the surgery, and the next day after the surgery he did TV taping for TNA, and then he flew home. So when he flew home, he's in the cast and everything like that. And he was in a lot of pain, and he was laying in bed, and it was like the very next day afterwards, so it was like 4 days after the surgery, he said the pain was just ungodly. He was taking more painkillers than he was supposed to take because nothing was helping. And he felt like the leg was really, really swollen. And then all of a sudden he was having some breathing issues. And I'm like, something is not right here. Something is not just something in your leg because you can't breathe. So I called 911 and we went to the hospital. Because of his breathing situation, they brought him to a hospital a little further away just because it was more specialized in like cardiopulmonary things. And they brought him in, and when he was on the table there, it wasn't even regular ER, some kind of a special ER room. I don't remember exactly what it was called. And they brought him in, and I was standing over him, and he was barely even conscious, and he was breathing really bad. So I was like, honey, talk to me, stay with me. And he was like mumbling because he was barely conscious. And the doctors were like, okay, we've got to put you in the waiting room because we've got to, work on him. So they brought me just right around the corner into this tiny little like private waiting room. Just then his father arrived. My mom was with me, but his father had just arrived. So we're sitting in this waiting room, and less than 10 minutes later, the doctor comes into the waiting room and says, I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do. He's gone. I was like, what? What do you mean he's gone? So in the time, between the time that he was home and he was starting to having the breathing problems, and then got him to the hospital, and it was like a half an hour ride, and then the 10 minutes at the hospital, and he was gone. So it was like the blood clot. The reason that he was having all the pain in the leg and the swelling in the leg underneath the cast was the blood clot, because blood clots are extremely painful, and then the blood clot dislodged and went to his heart and lungs, and that's what happened.
And so in your book, you say Dixie gives you a Christmas ham as a condolence.
Yep. What had happened was about, for the funeral and everything like that, everybody from TNA flew to New Jersey for the funeral, including Dixie Carter and her I almost said husband, oh my God, her father, Bob Carter, and just like almost like the whole crew. So she was hugging me at the funeral, hugging me, saying, if you need anything, you let me know. I'm here for you. We're here for you, blah, 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 blah. So during that time, I also get a basket. It's with our condolences from the TNA family, and it was a ham in a basket. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a nice gesture, but I'm not about to eat a ham because I'm like, my heart is ripped out of my, stuff in my chest right now. So then his check comes and for his final pay-per-view and TV, and it was like a $1,500 check. It wasn't a crazy amount. It was $1,500, but it was in his name. So at our bank, we had a joint checking account and savings account, but I can't endorse a check in his name over because they don't, they wouldn't allow that. I even brought his ID. And I said, I need to deposit this check, but he's passed away. They wouldn't let me. They said, I have to get a check cut in my name in order to deposit it. So I contacted Terry Taylor, who was in charge of like talent relations and everything at the time. And I said, Terry, listen, I need to pay off some of his bills, and I can't deposit his last paycheck. I need to cut into my check so I can deposit it in our account and pay off his credit cards and, some things that needed to be paid. Because we had joint credit cards, bank account, everything, because we're together 16 years. So he's like, let me get back to you in like 2 days. He calls me back in 2 days. Sorry, you guys were never legally married, so we can't cut a check in your name.
Oh my God.
I said, oh great. So basically, instead of just getting his last measly $1,500 to pay off some expenses, they gave me a fucking ham.
Does this check get like sent to a next of kin for him now, or is it just we get to keep the money now?
I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they gave it to his parents or whatnot. I don't know. But his parents didn't pay off any of his credit cards. I had to do that. I actually, after he died, I ended up having to declare bankruptcy to get rid of his bills because they were all in my name too. It was a mess because, they couldn't help me out with the $1,500 that he died for, but,
wow.
Yeah, so I don't even know if anybody ever saw that money. I really don't. Because after the funeral, I cut all ties with his parents and his family because at the funeral, his mother comes up to me and says, you could have prevented this. This should have been you and not my son.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a bad relationship the whole entire time with him?
Nope, the whole time. She was like my mother-in-law. His father was like my father-in-law. His brother and his sisters were my family. I had no idea they would be like this. But yeah, his mom had the balls to come up to me and said, "This should have been you and not my son. That I could have prevented." How could I have prevented this? I could have prevented a blood clot performed from surgery. How could I have prevented anything? But it was a pretty shitty thing to say to me, so I cut all ties with them.
Wow. Has there been any angle that you refused to do, or something that they wanted you to do that you refused? Anything like that? WWE or any wrestling promotion. Has anybody pitched something where you said, "Nah, I'm not into that," or vice versa?
I have rarely said no to anything in the wrestling business as long as it was meaningful. The only things I've said no to was Jim Cornette wanted to shave my head and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I said no.
Good for you. Good for you.
And then in WWE, the whole angle with Farouk, they wanted us to have a romantic relationship on camera.
Yeah.
Like with all the kissing and everything like that. And I said no.
Never been with a black guy in your life?
Never.
You know what? That's the one I haven't been with. Not guy, but women. I don't know. They need to be caramel for me. I don't know. I don't like too dark.
It's just not my thing. I don't know.
But
I did not want to do the whole, sucking face on TV with Ron Simmons. I just didn't want to do it.
Especially in a gladiator outfit. That is a little odd.
And I was at the position in the company where I could say no to things. So, why do something I'm not comfortable with? So, but that's pretty much it. Everything else anybody's ever brought up to me, I've had no problem doing. Within reason.
We have loved having you on the show, Sonny, and
Thanks,
we
guys.
might have to do a part two because there's so many things I didn't get to. Do you have some plugs that you want to get to for our audience?
God, let me see. Well, you can visit my website, totallysunny.com. It's kind of just being developed and built up right now, so it's not all perfected yet. I still do, my Skype shows with fans. I have my Snapchat membership. You can email me at totallysunny and then the number 1, totallysunny1@gmail.com for all that information. I have an account through Twitter. It's called onlyfans.com, where you can see exclusive pictures and videos through this website. It's a monthly subscription. You go to onlyfans.com/WWEHOFER Sunny. That's my Twitter handle. And then you can subscribe to that. And my book, my autobiography, was published a year ago, February. It's called A Star Shattered. It's available on Amazon, in bookstores, through RiverdaleAvenueBooks.com, or through me if you want a signed copy. So the same email goes, totallysunny1@gmail.com. But other than that, I don't know. I just go with the flow.
It's great that you were on and cleared up so many rumors too. That finally got the right stories out of a lot of things that everybody thinks are true that you've cleared up.
Yeah, it's just you can't believe or anything you read or see. It's absolutely, especially anything that's on the internet. You gotta understand something. When you read something on the internet, it is written by any douchebag that lives in his mom's basement that has nothing better to do but whack off and type on a keyboard. So I mean, how can you?
You mean wrestling fans?
How can you take somebody like that as fact? I mean, it's not even researched fact. It's somebody's opinion. I could start up a wrestling website and I could sit here all day thinking up outlandish rumors and gossip about people and having people believe it's true. I mean, think about it. I mean, think before you believe anything, because most of it's bullshit, honest to God. The things I've heard about, I've even heard I'm a heroin junkie and a crack addict. I've never even smoked pot. I mean, come on. I mean, have I been a full-blown alcoholic? Absolutely, and I admit to that. But it's just the things I read. It's just absurd. That's why I don't follow anything anymore, because it's not worth my time.
Above everything else, we must remember one thing, Sonny. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
There we go.
I can't wait to go to a game. So I have a friend that's on the broadcasting team, so I get comped anytime I want.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sonny. It's been an absolute pleasure, and can't wait to do this again.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon. You know how to find me.
I got you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.